Okay, so Henry and Beezus and Ramona are heading to the police station to try to get a bike at auction. They were delayed by a neighbor, but the slug in Ramona's pocket kind of scared that neighbor away. "Goodbye, Mrs. Wisser," said Beezus and Henry. Ramona put her slug back in her pocket. Beezus wound her up like a toy again, and they went on. Henry was feeling better about the girls coming with him until they got to the supermarket. Ramona stopped in front of the window. "I'm hungry," she announced. "Come on, Ramona," coaxed Beezus. "We're in a hurry." "I'm hungry," repeated Ramona. "Oh," Henry groaned. He knew they couldn't go any farther until Ramona had something to eat. That was the kind of little kid she was. "I have some money," said Beezus. "I better get her something." "Okay," Henry agreed reluctantly. "I could stand something myself." Then Henry noticed a sign on the door of the market. It said, "No dogs allowed in food stores." "Lie down, Ribsy," he ordered as he went through the swinging door. On the next swing of the door, Ribsy came walking into the market. "Sorry, Sonny," said a clerk. "You'll have to take your dog outside." "Beat it, Ribsy," Henry said to his dog. Ribsy sat down inside the market. "Aw, come on, you old dog," said Henry, seizing his pet by the collar and dragging him out onto the sidewalk. Henry hurried back into the market and was trying to decide between a bag of cheesy chips and a box of Fig Newton cookies when the clerk said, "Say, Sonny, I thought I told you to get that dog out of there." Once more, Henry dragged Ribsy back outside. This time, he dug into his pocket and pulled out a piece of heavy twine. He tied one end to Ribsy's collar and fastened the other end securely to a parking meter. "Now, don't you chew through the twine," he said, before he went back into the store. He chose the cheesy chips and stood impatiently behind Beezus in line at the cashier's counter. Finally, they were out on the sidewalk again, where they found Ribsy busy chewing the twine. Beezus had to stop and find several lions in the animal cracker box she had bought because Ramona wanted to eat all of the lion cookies first. Henry felt it was very frustrating to try and travel quickly with these girls. But maybe he would get there in time to find a bike in pretty good condition, with just a few spokes missing or something. "Hey, Henry!" It was Robert calling. Henry, who was trying to untie Ribsy from the parking meter, saw Scooter pedaling his bicycle slowly down the sidewalk while Robert jogged along at his side. "Bet you're going to the bike sale," said Scooter. "We're going just to watch." "Hey, Henry, what's that paper under Ribsy's collar?" asked Robert. "What paper?" said Henry. But sure enough, there was a paper under Ribsy's collar. Henry pulled it out and unfolded it as the other kids crowded around. Scooter was first to understand. He shouted with laughter. "It's a parking ticket! Ribsy got a parking ticket!" The kids all laughed. "Oh, don't be silly," said Henry. "Everybody knows dogs can't get a parking ticket." "Sure, it's a ticket," said Scooter. "See, it says notice of traffic violation across the top, and violation means he's done something wrong, doesn't it?" "Did you put some money in the parking meter?" asked Robert. "That's right. Did you put some money in the meter when you parked your dog?" laughed Scooter. "I didn't know leaving a dog on the sidewalk counted as parking," said Henry, looking at the meter. "See, the red thing doesn't show, and there's still 16 minutes left from whoever put the money in before." Maybe there was a car here already and Ribsy got a ticket for double parking, said Scooter, guffawing again. Beezus handed Ramona another lion cookie. That's all the lions now. You have to eat the camels now. Then she said to Henry, maybe it was a mistake. How could it be a mistake? Asked Scooter. It was under Ribsy's collar, wasn't it? He looked at the ticket again. See, it says here, you've violated a code. The policeman has written the number of the law you broke. I know, 'cause my dad explained it to me once when he got a ticket. Maybe you have to put in more money to park dogs. Maybe they'll put Ribsy in jail, suggested Robert. No, they won't, said Henry. You never heard of them putting a car in jail, did you? It's the same thing. That's right, agreed Scooter and laughed. Maybe they'll put you in jail. What do you suppose they'll do, Henry? Asked Beezus anxiously. I don't know. I guess I'll have to pay a fine. Henry stuffed the ticket in his pocket. Well, my dad knows a guy who knows the mayor, said Robert. Maybe he could do something about it. Nope, I'll have to take it out of my bike money, said Henry. Say, Scooter, how much money did your dad pay when he got the ticket? $5, I think, said Scooter. Maybe it was 10. That would put a big dent in Henry's bike fund. Oh my gosh, plus he just bought the cheesy chips. Oh my gosh. Didn't have a lot left over for a bike if he has to pay a fine for the dog. Oh, that's if he ever got to the auction, and if there are any bikes left when he did get there. Maybe he could get a good sturdy frame and pick up a couple of wheels someplace else. You could go to the police station and ask, suggested Beezus. Why hadn't he thought of that before? Hey kids, let's go, said Henry. He didn't have to finish untying the twine. Ribsy had already chewed it in two. Scooter pedaled slowly, and the others ran along beside him. Even Ramona ran. Eating all the lions out of the animal cracker box made her forget that she needed to be wound up. Henry worried about the ticket. What was wrong with leaving Ribsy outside the supermarket? He couldn't take him in, so he had to leave him out, didn't he? And if he didn't tie him, he wouldn't stay out, would he? This had to be a mistake. It had to be. Oh, if only he could get to the police station and find out before the auction. Wow! Exclaimed Henry when they finally turned a corner and came to the Glenwood police station. The steps of the building swarmed with kids. The driveway beside the station was crammed with boys and girls and grown-ups and dogs, too. Other kids perched on the fence between the driveway and the apartment house on the other side. More children were getting out of the cars that jammed the street. Henry, I'll go with you to see about the ticket, Beezus told Henry. Scooter and Robert decided they would try to find a place on the fence. When Henry made his way through the crowd on the steps, he found a policeman blocking the door. Around to the side of the building, kids. The auction is out in the driveway, and no one is allowed to go through the station. But I just wanted to ask, said Henry. Run along, everybody, directed the policeman. But, said Henry. Sorry. Come on. Beezus tugged at Henry's sleeve. It started already. You can ask afterwards. But I won't know how much money I can spend, protested Henry as he followed Beezus. When they reached the driveway, Henry tried to worm his way through the crowd. Maybe he could get to the back door of the police station and ask about his ticket there. Hey, quit shoving, ordered a boy. Yeah, we were here first, said another. Who do you think you are? Oh, we'll never make it to the back door in time. There must be other policemen around someplace. Henry was worried because he could hear the auctioneer's voice and knew that bicycles were being sold. What is the bid for this bicycle? Henry heard faintly above the noise of the crowd. Ooh, he knew he had to get this ticket straightened out pretty soon, or he might as well go home and forget the whole thing. There's a policeman, exclaimed Beezus, over there by the fence. When Henry, Beezus, Ramona, and Ribsy had fought their way through the crowd to the policeman, they found it was too busy to get boys off the fence to notice. He was too busy trying to get boys off the fence to notice them. Henry didn't know how to speak to the policeman. Mr. Policeman, he said cautiously. All right, boys, directed the man. Get down off that fence. Over the noise, Henry heard the auctioneer's voice say, Sold! Henry and Beezus looked at each other anxiously. There went another bike. Mr. Policeman? This time Henry spoke louder, but still the policeman did not hear. Then Ramona marched over to the policeman and tugged on the leg of his uniform pants. Hey! She yelled. Surprised, the police officer looked down at her. Hello there. Something I can do for you? Yes, Henry spoke up. This is my dog Ribsy. How do you do, Ribsy? Said the puzzled policeman. Ribsy sat down and held out his paw. The right one, too. The police officer bent over and shook it. Henry was glad to see his dog do the right thing for once. He got a parking ticket, said Henry. He what? The policeman sounded confused. Henry pulled the crumpled ticket out of his pocket. He got a parking ticket. I can't understand it. He wasn't double parked, there was money still in the meter, and there wasn't any car by it. Then he explained about Ramona being hungry and Ribsy following him into the supermarket. The policeman looked at the ticket and began to smile. Then he laughed. A couple of the other policemen came to see what he was laughing at. They laughed too. Henry felt uncomfortable and wondered if he had done the wrong thing or said something wrong. Young man, did you never hear it's against the law to tie anything to a parking meter? The first officer finally asked. So that was it. No, sir, said Henry politely. I just tied him with a thin piece of twine. It wasn't a big rope or anything. Chuckling, the policeman folded up the ticket and put it in his pocket, and then patted Ribsy's head. Well, since you didn't know about the law, I'll see what I can do about this. But from now on, you'd better find someplace else to park your dog. Gee, thanks, said Henry gratefully. Thanks millions. Ribsy held out his paw again. What a relief. Now Henry could bid all of his money for a bicycle. Oh, well, minus what he had spent on the cheesy chips. Come on, Beezus, Henry said. Let's get in there and start bidding. And that is the end of Chapter 4. Tomorrow we'll do Chapter 5. Beezus makes a bid. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. See you tomorrow.